There is a couplet I'm reminded of, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say it in Hindi and then translate it into English. कि उन्होंने हमारी आंखों में धूल क्या झोंकी, उन्होंने हमारी आंखों में धूल क्या झोंकी, खुदा की कसम पहले से बेहतर नजर आने लगा है. It is good that the pandemic has blinded us with all the troubles it can bring upon humanity. But now, thank God it has come. We are better human beings and we live better now. Thanks to the pandemic, we live far better and we will live far better than what we have. Thank you, Sapnesh, and everybody on that panel. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier in the day, we heard about the role of academies in accelerating performance. And then from the 6 CXOs, their insights about how they are using this opportunity that the pandemic has offered. Now let's understand accelerating time to competence and productivity, the role of learning technology in delivering that is designed to deliver performance. To talk about this, I'm delighted to welcome John Kusi Mensah, AVP Global Distribution Academy, Metlife, in conversation with Ruchi Goyal, General Manager, BFSI Enterprise Business, NIIT Ltd.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the session. I hope you all have found the session so far useful. I have the pleasure of bringing to you a powerful global case study, a story of Metlife and NIIT partnership, which we take great pride in. To give you a little context, Metlife is a leading global provider of insurance and employee benefit programs, and NIIT, the world's leading skill and talent development corporation, came together in 2009 to solve a critical problem of enabling performance of a globally distributed sales workforce. Time to competence had to be reduced, despite the challenges of high volume recruitment and turnover. Focused efforts and deep design led to a unique distribution academy, which today is accelerating speed to competence and productivity for sales executives, managers, and leaders across 4 countries and 26 markets in 15 different languages. Metlife Distribution Academy is powered by Distribution Advantage Platform, or DAP, which has been co-designed by Metlife and NIIT to build sales performance at speed and low cost. DAP leverages IBM Watson's and Google's AI engine, which drives analytics and personalization. And it's exciting that DAP has evolved over the years from its original avatar, DAP 1.0, that introduced taxonomy-driven learning journeys and blended learning, to DAP 2.0, which brought in virtual induction experience, AI-based curation, coaching tools, and performance modeling, to the current version, DAP 3.0, which is bringing intelligent insights, personalized learning, and productivity analytics. Now, let me first show to you how the Distribution Academy has been recognized globally. I'm going to play a short video of about 3.5 minutes. It's interesting, and it has a little glimpse of the DAP platform as well. And on the other side of the video, there's going to be an interesting story. So here it goes.
Is the Business Impact Award. This is for learning executives who have implemented a significant measurement or evaluation program that has demonstrated exceptional business impact from their workforce development programs. This year, we have 1 winner in this category who met the judging criteria. And the Gold Award for Division 1 goes to John Kusi Mensah, AVP, Global Distribution Academy, Metlife. The Technology Award. This is presented to learning executives who have delivered new and unique applications of emerging technology to employee learning and development. And the Division 1 Gold goes to John Kusi Mensah, AVP, Global Distribution Academy, Metlife.
Is a new category. Best Technology-Based Onboarding Program. The Gold Award goes to an outstanding entry that easily met all the criteria and is constantly evolving and improving. The gold winner is Metlife and NIIT. Finally, for blended learning. It's the turn of best use of blended learning, international commercial sector. Adding silver to their earlier gold is Metlife and NIIT.
At Metlife, our objective is to transform data into information and information to knowledge, expertise, and insight to drive sales force productivity and retention. The Distribution Academy is focused on empowering and differentiating our sales associates in a highly competitive marketplace and enabling them to be winners. The experience is delivered via DAP, the Distribution Advantage Platform, a one-stop solution for learning and sales performance support designed to accelerate the growth of our sales force. A key and critical focus of the Distribution Academy is providing managers with the skills they need to effectively coach and manage their teams on a day-to-day basis. At Metlife, we believe that our people are critical to us achieving our strategic goals and objectives. We do this by enabling our sales associates to become the best version of themselves.
How all this has been achieved, I'd like to welcome the Chief Architect of Metlife Distribution Academy, John Kusi Mensah. And after what you've seen just now, John doesn't need much more introduction, but in brief, John is a global thought leader with 25 years of rich experience with the likes of AIG, Zurich, Tata Group, and has also implemented the platform at ICICI Prudential in the past in India. John has been working with partners in India for 17 years, which means that he also visits India frequently. And John, we hope to host you sometime in India soon in person. Very warm welcome. Over to you, John.
Thank you for the introduction. And I'm going to start as if you can move to the next slide. My first slide, I'm going to talk about the Distribution Academy. What is the strategic context? What our global footprint looks like? What our curriculum looks like? And then we will start getting into the Distribution Academy ecosystem, the experience, and the sort of impact and results we're achieving across the globe. If you can move me to the next slide. So what is the Distribution Academy? The Metlife Distribution Academy is responsible for the training and development and performance support of 24,000 employees and over 400,000 partner sales employees spread across 40 countries. And some of the challenges we are dealing with is that we have a high volume sales force recruitment and turnover. We have a globally dispersed itinerant sales force. And it is critical that we really work to accelerate time to competence and time to productivity. Compounded by all this, our sales force used to sell face-to-face. COVID has changed our business model where our people now cannot sell face-to-face. So we've had to equip them to be able to sell virtually. Ruchi, if you can take me to the next slide. Okay, you would see our footprint, and Ruchi mentioned that we are in 4 countries. No, we're not in 4 countries. We're in 26 countries around the globe, starting from Latin America, so as far down as Chile, all the way back up to Mexico, and then we sweep over into the Europe and the Middle East, and then our final frontier into Asia is Bangladesh. So we are currently in 26 countries, and we just about started our implementation in the 27th country. Ruchi, let's move to the next slide. So now let me introduce you to the Distribution Advantage platform. And the Distribution Advantage platform is a platform that is a co-creation or co-architecture between Metlife and NIIT. Really, like Ruchi said, driven by the IBM Watson artificial intelligence engine and Google's artificial intelligence engine. The Distribution Academy platform, which is the backbone architecture, which drives personalization. And here we've coined our own phrase. We're not talking about just personalization. What we are seeking to deliver is hyper-personalization, and I will explain what hyper-personalization means. But bottom line is, this environment is based on 3 pillars. We have a sales learning pillar, we have a sales coaching pillar, and we have a sales performance development pillar. Okay, so the sales learning pillar, and for over the last, from about 2010, one of the things that we sought to do for the last 10 years, what we sought to do was that we did not believe that knowledge should be delivered face-to-face. We have, over the last 10 years, been working against the backdrop that we would deploy all knowledge to our stakeholders online. And what we have traditionally used our face-to-face environments to do was to really focus on skills. But in the last 3 years with DAP, we've also started shifting the delivery of even skills to an online mediated environment. But in terms of our learning pillar, essentially what that engine does for us is that engine allows us to do all our onboarding online. It allows us to do all the ongoing learning online. And we also have a deep curated expert video library that is all deployed to you online. Let me stop here and say, one of the things that we are doing about personalization, the platform knows who you are, what channel you work in, what country you work in, what role you're working in, how long you've been in your role, and even your performance level. And every part of your experience is personalized to your specific requirements. So our learning pillar is about the deployment of learning to an individual based on their personal signature, their role, their tenure, the channel in which they are. I'm going to then go to the coaching pillar. That's the second pillar. Traditionally, after our agents had gone through online learning, they will spend time with their manager, being coached by their manager. But we wanted a more efficient way of ensuring skilling happened. You've got the knowledge, right? But we didn't think that Saraswati on its own was enough, right? So we needed to also now focus on how do we skill you? How do we skill you? And what we do with this environment is that we now have an area which allows our sales source to actually practice. So let's just say that we're an insurance company, people have to prospect, they have to do fact finding. You learn about how to do a fact find. The system then allows you to go online, watch videos relating to fact finding, and then you will practice your fact finding skills, right? The system will drive specific videos relating to fact finding, and then will give you a task on specific videos that you need to record, and even with regard to allowing you to practice your sales pitch. You can practice as much as you want, and then once you've got the best video you think you've produced, the system allows you to share it with your manager and also share it with your peers. And that becomes the basis of your manager's review to see whether you have been able to get a hang of the key skill area. So this precedes a meeting that your manager would have with you. But bottom line is, we are not only working to get people knowledge perfect, we are also looking to get them skill perfect. The third pillar is the sales performance development. So The sales performance development pillar says, okay, now I have learned, I have been able to practice, and in practicing, I even have had a one-to-one with my manager. He's giving me some feedback on my video. The sales performance development pillar then says, now my manager should take me into the field and demonstrate to me how to sell. And then my manager will observe me selling, and the system allows me, my manager, to give me feedback as they watch me selling. What am I saying here? In terms of the total knowledge, skill, and field value chain, what the system is doing is allowing us to have a window of transparency into what is happening to the salesperson or the sales manager at every point in their journey. There is no hiding place. I'm sitting now in the United Kingdom, but I can see exactly what is happening across the globe. The other thing that this sales performance development pillar allows us to do is it also allows us to pool data relating to actual sales performance. So for example, let's say I'm a sales agent. The system allows us to pull specific information on my sales ratios. The systems allows for an analysis on my sales ratios to identify areas where I'm having performance challenges, I'm underperforming. And the system then is able to shoot me specific learning pills based on my actual sales performance. This is where we talk about us venturing into the world of hyper-localization. Ruchi, let's move to the next slide. Okay, I'm just flipping, and I'm going to just give you a different sense of what our architecture looks like. So I talked about the 3 pillars, but I also want to talk to you about the 4 E's. So in our world, the first part of our world is education, where we have an entire suite of intervention, an entire mix geared towards the educating, the knowledge. Let me go again, the Saraswati of our sales agents, right? This is where we actually give them knowledge. So we have got a whole virtual onboarding experience. Everything that happens to you is specific to your role, is specific to how long you have been in the role, and not only how long you've been in the role, it's also able to tailor things based on your actual sales performance. I repeat the term again. Hyper-personalization. Okay. We then have we know that we want to not only give people courses, but we also have a deep curated video library based on content we've produced and based on being pulled from sites such as YouTube, TED, LinkedIn, and all sorts of. So every day, our crawlers go out and pull in new videos. So bottom line is our pool of learning never dries out. This is a world where never dries out. Every day, fresh rains fall into our world to enhance the knowledge and capability of our people. Okay, the next area is experience. We know that learning is social. So what our environment allows us to do is the peer-to-peer social exchange. So individuals, experts are able to share their knowledge. Individuals are able to, around a course, around a skill area, around a clinic, we allow people to collaborate and share their war stories, share the experiences. Also, experience, we already talked about, giving people the ability to practice their sales pitches. The system supports on-the-job virtual coaching, virtual tours, and also provides, within everything you need to do as a sales agent or a manager, we also provide real-time performance support, a systematic walkthrough. You can never get stuck. Wherever you are in the sales process, if you do not know what to do, we have online guides, interactive guides for you. The next area that we talk about is the environment. What is environment about? Okay, so this is where we take you beyond the world of learning and integrate our architectures with business systems And that is where we are able to pull your actual sales data from. So we're not just working as a standalone siloed environment within learning. Everything we do, we are pulling actual information about the learner. And that is where we are able to shoot learning pills to people based on actually what is happening to them. So we are not actually being blindsided. We are really working with people based on what is happening in their world. The exposure dimension of architecture, which is the last E, allows our salespeople to be able to connect internally with experts and also to connect externally. So again, we're doing a lot of integration work with the likes of LinkedIn to encourage professional networking within and also without. And also, this is a path to our agents, particularly in a social selling world where they find clients. Let's move, Ruchi, to the next slide. Okay, so again, we talked about what our journey looks like. It starts from your day zero, and to talk about one of the balances one of my line of business leaders used. He said, John, how do we shift people from zero to hero, right? How do I shift people from rookie to hero? That is the mandate that I'm working, right? Getting people, being able to accelerate time to competence and time to productivity, moving at speed and at scale. So from our onboarding, actually, because of the type of individuals we are attracting, a lot of the new agents are and millennials and under the 35 age group. So we have to make learning interesting. We have to make learning very fun. So they go into this virtual world, they meet they have a virtual guide who guides them through their learning journey. They are taken into virtual worlds. They take virtual tours into different departments to understand how our world works. And as they are learning, they earn our cryptocurrency, which we call the Metcoins, right? They earn, as you learn, you're earning this digital currency called Metcoins, and you're able to use the Metcoins to purchase activity, such as spending time with the top producer, such as access to certain exclusive content. We have microsites, the social collaboration. Our learning is a mix of courses, videos, virtual instructor-led. Podcast is a big hit. So for example, we have in Bangladesh, every Sunday, we release a podcast. In other parts of the world where their week starts on a Monday, it's just the motivational Monday to lift you up, because the sales journey is not an easy journey. We support joint field work. We have built all sorts of calculators and performance support systems. So for example, we have an agent having a conversation with a client. We are at their fingertips. If they're talking about an education plan for a client, they will be able to tell how much taking a law degree in Harvard would cost the client. So we're not talking about the client's son or daughter going to Harvard or going to Carnegie Mellon, going to any school, anywhere in the world at a fingertip, which allows them to have really substantial conversation. So when I'm asking you to buy an education plan, I'm asking you, where do you want your child to be educated? Do you want them to be educated in India? Do you want them to be educated in the United Kingdom? What degree do you want to take? And we're able to then say, at the touch of a button, tell you what the cost will be, and even build in the cost of inflation based on the age of your child. So basically, it's not just about learning and knowledge, it's also about performance support, but helping client decision making. But this is all within the scope of what we do. Let's move on to the next slide. So what we're trying to talk about here is our journey consists of a number of stages. So we've talked about simulation, role plays, performance coaching. The critical thing that we've done here, and this is where we are different. And I just heard Sapnes talk about relationship, right? We humanize our learning journey. So even though I'm talking about technology, your in our world, what we have actually done is we've eliminated trainers. And the person who is your trainer, your mentor, your coach is your manager. So at any point in your learning journey, after every intervention, you would have a one-to-one with your manager to ensure, and your manager is the person that ensures that whether it's knowledge, whether it's skill, whether it's experience, expertise, you have got it. So the manager sits at the heart of our environment, and ensuring that our managers are kitted, equipped, and trained becomes a big part in what we do. Let's go to the next slide. How do we assess how people are doing? So after every learning intervention, the individuals, we have an assessment where people go in and we actually ask them to complete in as a video or in narrative, not true or false. Whether they've captured the key learning points. So you can record your answers as a video or you can do it as a narrative, and this will be sent to your manager who will check whether you got the key learning points. And then we will also ask you to record yourself doing a role play or a sales pitch that is also going to your manager. But even before it goes to your manager, the machine is also able to score your role play, to show whether you're using the right terminology, to show how your rate of speech, and all that is done by the artificial intelligence. And then your manager accompanies you into the field. And bottom line is, when we get to the point where we start talking about what is the sort of impact we are seeing, that is why we are delivering the sort of results that we are seeing. Ruchi, let's go to the next slide. So on my next slide, it's the Bangladesh story. With COVID, Bangladesh used to sell 6,000 policies, 20,000 policies a month. With COVID, we just sank to just about 1,600 policies. We had to quickly move in to work with them. And by the time we got to August, through them, us showing them how to do virtual scaling, using all our tools, we got them back to 7,000. And now we are upward trajectory, getting back them back to where business was pre-COVID. Other results, let's go to the next slide, my story from Colombia. When Colombia, this is what you would see, and Colombia is just an example. What we do is we really do some deep analytics, comparing the results of agents that have been on our intervention compared to people who have gone through traditional learning. So I'm going to just use the July results. So if you look at the July results of what is happening in Colombia, in terms of agents that we are supporting through our academy, compared to the historical peer group who had gone through classroom training, the size of the premium, the ticket size of the business that they were selling was 102% bigger than people that do traditional, who went through traditional learning. If you look at agents, and this was agents at the 12-month stage, by the time they get to at the 7-month stage, the ticket size is 69% bigger. If we look at number of policies at the 12-month stage, our agents who go through our interventions and use our tools have an 86% larger number of policies. And then if I take attrition rates, because again, attrition is an area that it really hits us. Our attrition rates for agents at month 7, which is where we get the highest loss of agents, is 65% higher than a traditional peer group. Again, the critical thing, and I'm wondering how many of you saw the film Jerry Maguire, right? And there's a tagline from the film Jerry Maguire. I'm wondering whether anybody knows what that tagline is. But if you don't know, let me call it on. So the guy tells his coach, they're having a conversation, and he says, "Show me the money," right? Show me the money. That's what we do. I don't work for a charity. I work for a financial services company. And it's for me to get the investment that I need to do what I do. If I cannot show that I have the capability, the ability to accelerate time to competence and drive time to productivity, then I'm not going to have the sort of backing. So even in a difficult year like this, I've already, on top of my normal business as usual budget, I've just been given another injection of $1.5 million because I'm able to show the money, right? So that's what we're doing, but we're not working in isolation. We're really working hand in glove. It's not just a learning intervention. What we do is a business intervention. It's about delivering the business. Let's go to the next, the last video, and let me just take you into an immersive world, into the world of Distribution Academy.
The Metlife Distribution Academy is responsible for training and developing 24,000 Metlife employees and over 400,000 sales associates across 40 countries to sell insurance in a competent and compliant manner, ensuring personalized and continuous learning and development for our geographically dispersed sales force operating in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous markets poses complex challenges. The learner base is always expanding. For instance, China recruited over 9,000 new sales associates over the last year, and annual recruitment is on an upward trajectory for the next few years. The same applies for markets such as Bangladesh, where recruitment is underway for over 6,500 new financial advisors. To support our globally spread, rapidly expanding itinerant sales force, there was a need to deliver real-time, on-demand, and personalized learning anytime, any place, and on any device. The Blended Learning Academy, powered by the Distribution Advantage Platform, or DAP, leverages multiple modalities of delivery to create continuous and personalized device-agnostic learning journeys to address the business objectives through sales learning and onboarding, sales skills coaching, and sales performance development.
To improve customer experience, increase productivity, and gain competitive advantage, we must find ways of differentiating ourselves from the competition. We seek this distinction through digital and blended sales training and performance support solutions that cannot be easily replicated by competitors.
The learning ecosystem combines digital learning, fieldwork, highly immersive face-to-face learning, social learning, on-the-job coaching, and mentoring with real-time performance support. Different modes of learning evidenced are asynchronous learning through device-agnostic courses, bite-sized videos, virtual tours, games, simulations, and podcasts. Synchronous learning through online interactions between the sales associates and coaches or managers, and collaboration with peers and members of the cohort. Face-to-face skill-building sessions through virtual instructor-led training, VILTs, and just-in-time performance support, such as online tools and calculators, operating models, and sales aids.
The Distribution Advantage platform gives our sales associates real-time access to personalized learning journeys as well as real-time performance support. This creates a unique and engaging experience. This is definitely transforming the way we learn at Metlife.
The Distribution Academy is customized and delivered in market specific to distribution channel, role, local language, and cultural specifications. The design and implementation of the Academy is integrated with a local training plan in order to maximize impact and enable sales associates to meet individual and organizational targets.
We partnered with the Distribution Academy to create a blended virtual sales, onboarding experience, and role-based learning journeys, which allows us to train and develop sales associates real-time and at the point of need.
The monitoring and measurement activities are designed to measure impact based on parameters set against the overall business targets to ensure that the Academy delivers improvements in business results.
Realmente porque hubo muchas personas que me dijeron que esto iba a ser muy difícil, que esto era un tema muy complicado porque en Colombia vender seguros era muy difícil. Pero en ese momento, cuando empecé mi entrenamiento con DAP, empezaron a despejarse dudas, empecé a adquirir más confianza. Actualmente llevo más de 15 vidas expedidas. Hasta mayo del 2020 llevo más de 15 vidas y estoy muy satisfecha y muy contenta porque son 15 familias a las cuales le he podido aportar un granito de arena.
The Distribution Academy is transforming the way Metlife's global sales force learns, works, and performs, and become the best version of themselves.
This Saraswati is highly evolved, Saraswati for the sales agent. And I'm sorry, it's 4 continents, not 4 countries. I'm sure audience would have a lot of questions for you. Audience may start typing their questions in the chat and we'll take them in the last 10 minutes. Before that, John, I want to ask a few questions, if I may. So John, you spoke about hyper-personalization. DAP personalizes learning experience to an extent that it knows who you are, where you're from, what skills you lack. So please do also share your journey to get to that level of personalization. What were your considerations in how do you want to, what kind of data you want to feed in? How do you want to personalize experience?
And thanks, great question. What we did was we started with the development of a taxonomy-based journeys based on competency and based on tenures. That was our starting point. So we really did define competencies and then define proficiency levels. So what is the knowledge somebody needs at a foundational stage, at an intermediate stage, at an advanced stage, at an expert stage. So that was the starting point. And then in building that whole taxonomy-based learning journey that drives the entire cycle. So let's just say within the first 4 years of an agent, at every stage, what they need. We've got courses, we've got the skilling, we've got the videos, all the tools packaged. Then the next, once we had built this robust back end in terms of, for lack of a better word, let's just call it, if I diagnose that you have a challenge or handicap, or you've got a gap, how do we solve for the gap? The next phase was now then to really start working on at different levels in your tenure. What is the sort of performance you expected to be having, right? So what are the performance standards you achieve? So we have the taxonomy journey defined, and we also have the standards in terms of your performance standards. So how many meetings how many prospects should you have? How many meetings should you be having? What is, for example, for every number of meetings you have, first meetings you have, how many second meetings should you be coming out of that? And then for every number of second meetings do you have, how many closes should you be having? So we're now getting very, very forensic, right? And because all this is defined and we are working very hand in glove with the business. It's not something we are doing in isolation, because learning cannot define these things on their own. Your stakeholders are the business, so they define the performance standards. So based on that, we then have identified the baseline. And then the next phase is being able to pull the actual activity. So let's say that Ruchi Goal is an agent who is in their first month, right? Or month 6. We know from a learning perspective what she should have been through, And then we are also able to look at, from a sales perspective, in terms of key sales ratios, what do we expect to see? So it may be that on prospecting, Ruchi is doing great. She's doing very well according to standard. First meeting, she's doing well, but first meeting to second meetings, her ratios are underperforming. And when we say her ratios are under, we've defined at a number of levels. Is she above 100% above? Is she at 100%? Is she at 80%? Is she at 50%? Is she at... And based on the level, and you realize the level of forensicness, then you'll be short learning pills. But your learning pills are a function of your role, your tenure, and your performance level. But all this has been engineered into the system. And the system is monitoring your every move. And on a month-by-month basis, we are pulling in. So this month, you may be doing well. Next month, you may go down. And the range of interventions you will get next month will be different, because we are monitoring you on a month-by-month basis in terms of your performance and where we need to support you. And not only are we sending you these learning pills, the moment we send you your learning pills, your manager is also sent an instruction of what to do with you to support you. So, and that's where we talk about hyper localization, but it's a very, very deeply engineered system, where we work very in partnership with the business. And again, we have the benefit of the partnership we have with NIIT, and also we have a huge cast of experts who really understand the space that we're working with.
Of similar, thanks for sharing, John. That's wonderful. Organizations of similar size, complexity, and diversity would have a similar requirement of making learning relevant and hyper-personalizing it. That leads me to another question, and I see a similar question from the audience as well. From simply measuring adoption and attendance, many organizations have either moved or are moving to measuring the impact to employee performance. So you have done that very successfully by linking field performance to learning recommendations in the Distribution Academy. But it requires capturing the right set of data points, linking it to the learning platform, and also taking into account the views of various businesses, getting stakeholders on board, and then there are cost considerations. So what challenges did you face in getting all of these together, and particularly getting to a stage of making it a performance engine, linking performance to learning?
And that's a great question, Ruchi. Again, in this space, we start venturing into domains that are not germane to the learning fraternity, right? These are not things that learning people have traditionally done. So for example, let me talk about analytics, right? Traditionally, we never had data scientists as part of our ecosystem, because there's no way. I'm not a data scientist. I understand learning, I understand the business, but I'm not a data scientist. But quickly, we had to ensure that we actually had data scientists as part of our ecosystem who would help us with the model. So we have, within NIIT, we have a data scientist working with us. And then we have partners who are also data scientists who help us with doing all the modeling, right? We also need to bring in a lot of business experts, because I'm an expert, but I'm not a deep business expert. So I really need people who really know the business. We need people who understand skilling. How do you cause behavioral change? So it's extremely complex. I mean, it's been an extremely complex navigational journey, but we had to learn this is not something that this is just traditional learning domain. You will have to bring in the data science. I mean, even as I speak, we are taking our data stack to another level, and we are having to figure continuously build data pipelines, because in this world, I say data is diamond, right? I can't walk blindsided. Sorry, my Siri's talking to me. Data is diamond, right? Because I need to have a line of sight of every move. What are the sort of things that people are doing that are driving their productivity? But it's not something that it's superficial. You have to go deep. So, for example, even looking at who are the top performers, right? Who are the top performers? What are the top performers consuming, right? What are the top performers consuming? And not only what are the top performers consuming, what learning activity are they doing? What skilling activity are they doing? What is their manager doing with them? And for example, with our business in India, we found one of the things. We realized that even the gap between somebody taking learning and their manager having a coaching conversation with them has an impact on their productivity. That's not something that the transient eye, particularly when you're dealing with hundreds and thousands of people, that you can pick up. But that's where data becomes diamond for you. So again, I think in a nutshell, we're not talking just about working within our traditional learning space. You have to get yourself familiar with the technologies, analytics. So again, you cannot do this without the involvement of your technology organization, right? Analytics, understanding your business, building models. It's a complex. The great news is that it's been done, and for those who are interested in moving forward with this, at least we have our experiences to share with you.
Right. John, to talk a little more about the manager coaching that you mentioned, you said that you're getting rid of training and manager is the coach, and you're doing that effectively. Now, how do you prepare managers to be effective coaches and build mechanisms around it so that the manager coaching impacts the right performance gap?
All our implementations start with managers, and we have a process called the boot camping. So, for example, for the agent curriculum, the managers will be the first people who go through our agent curriculum, and we take them through all the exercises, the skills, everything, all the exercises that they will need to take the agents through, how to support them, all the tools, and then we sign them off as ready. But the managers are the first people to go through the experience, because bottom line is you can't give what you don't have, right? If you have not been through the experience and we've not skilled you, and we put them through an intensive period of coaching and really showing them how to skill people, what to do, what sort of conversations. And bottom line is our system is also, they don't have to remember everything, because the system, we talk about the autonomous drive. So as a manager, the system knows me, it knows what I need at any point in time, and it will push it to me so that I don't have to go find things. But bottom line is, and this is where the system becomes important, it has to be so autonomous and so idiot proof, right? So that I don't need to be a genius to be able to work with it. The system is user-centric, utilitarian, and performance-centric at heart. User-centric, utilitarian, and performance-centric at heart.
Well said. That's very interesting. John, just one more question before I take up the audience question. I see there are a lot of great questions coming. Businesses today are agile. They're changing very rapidly. In fact, in one of the breakout sessions, I heard that one of our panelists, that organizations are redefining their journeys after pandemic. They're redefining customer touch points. So where earlier customers used to come to a bank, Now, bankers or agents will have to go to customers. And therefore, they'll also have to align processes, they're redeploying people, they're reskilling people to enable these new customers. So, in a similar manner, businesses change rapidly. Now, how adaptable and scalable and modular DAP engine has been to catch up with the changing business priorities and structures?
Give an example. So when COVID hit, we had 2 weeks to respond. 2 weeks. Yeah. QC Mensa or one other. Yeah, sorry, let me turn this thing. Yeah, we had 2 weeks to respond. But the good news is that our whole architecture is based on a plug and play system. And it becomes easy to move checkboxes, tick boxes, and set people up. So we are able, we built it in a way that it's easily extensible. Yeah, it's based on plug and play systems. And we made it extremely extensible so that we can plug in pieces, we can take pieces out. It's not like we are building with old antiquated architectures. We're really looking at extensible systems.
All right, thank you. I will take up audience questions. In fact, there are two questions. I'll try to combine them. So, hyper-personalizations, what were the various internal systems that you had to integrate? And was that easy? And how much time did it take you to build a business case and align stakeholders and implement this platform?
Okay, so in terms of, let me take it, hyper-personalization, was it easy? No, it's not easy, right? Because again, this is where you don't start with the system, you start with the business problem. And this is where we started, that we really, and like I said, we started even defining at a very, very detailed level the curriculum of what does somebody need. And that took a lot of expertise, and then working with the business and leveraging performance standards and robust testing the performance standards that they had built. The initial conversation was I've lost a good part of my hair because it was pulling hair, right? To get the system to be set up in the way we wanted it set up. And the challenge we had was we were starting with a blank slate. We had not done it before. And we didn't have anybody that had done it before that we could go to and say, how have you done it? We were pathfinding. Now that we have done it and we've learned how to do it, we now have the frameworks that we can use as templates to look at another business's problem. So today, for example, if I'm going to set up for a different channel, a different country, anything, it's easy because I have the playbook worked out. The critical thing is you need time to develop the playbook. You need time to develop the framework. We think through, and you need to bring in all relevant stakeholders. Like I say, it's not an HR or learning play. It's more about the business. It's a business problem you are trying to solve. So you're working to solve. So you've got to make sure that you really, really understand the business from your learning perspective, and you also bring the business stakeholders. But the great thing is that bottom line is I am helping the business to deal with its pain, right? I'm helping the business because I am helping the business to make money. So if I'm helping you, if somebody came to you, to Ruchi, and say, hey, Ruchi, let me help you. You want to make $5 million? Let me help you make $5 million. You want to make $10 million? Would you say no? And I've got a proven way of showing you I can help you make money like nobody can, and like nobody's doing in the marketplace. So that's the deal.
Great. John, which were the systems you had to integrate for achieving hyper-personalization?
For example, we have activity management systems. Some of our people use Salesforce.com. We have country-specific activity management systems. So there's not one, and CRM systems. So there's not just one CRM system. We have to meet our client wherever they are. But the great news is that we have the ability to use, for example, API connections to build bridges. Sometimes we can also use even flat file formats to build bridges, depending on security protocols for the different business. So whether it's an activity management is a CRM system, we've set the pipes of DAP in such a way that we can connect to any system you want us to connect to, so long as the system has the open pipes for us to pull out the relevant data.
Sure, thank Last question. There are numerous LLPs platforms available in the market today. What were your considerations in choosing the engine with respect, particularly with respect to cost and ROI?
So again, this is a very interesting question. And number one, cost and ease, agility to design to my requirements was a big play. So we have underlying, sitting behind our DAP platform is an LMS, the sum total platform, and it could be any LMS. A big thing that was a big niggler for me was I have the LMS license cost to pay, right? And then we started looking at LXPs such as Degreed and all those other systems. So I'm paying an LMS license, and then I'm going to pay a Degreed or any other LXP license. And the challenge that I was having is my LMS provider is not able to even, I want something to be done. They are waiting for other clients to want to have that requirement and it to be on their roadmap. And in the same way for the LXP. So between my LMS and my LXP, the deal got cost prohibitive, particularly when I'm going into markets such as China, Bangladesh, right? I already have a 10,000 user base in Bangladesh. So I've got to pay for the LMS, I've got to pay for the LXP. Bottom line, we're not going to get out of the bed because you've just gotten people out. So I needed a way, a cost-efficient way to solve my problem, right? And then I also needed to be able to run my own life, that my life is not in anybody's hands. And today, I've actually essentially even rendered my LMS almost irrelevant. And I've pushed their price down because through my front end, I'm able to do so much. And I'm not held hostage by prohibitive licensing cost. And that has now got us, so now we are almost at 40,000 users on the platform. And by the time we get to the end of the year, my sense is that we'll be, in this year, we may go past 60, 70, 80,000 user base. But I am not being hamstrung by the number of people I put on the platform by having to pay LMS, LXP cost.
Great. Thanks for sharing that, John. Very insightful. I enjoyed this conversation a lot, and I hope audience have takeaways as well. Thank you so much for sharing this case study. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Ruchi,
Thank you.
for the fruitful case study. Certainly has been implemented with heart and soul, making learning